It's late afternoon, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Arvin, you are just kind of arriving at the parking lot of this high school where you'll be acting as like a replacement temporary for the history teacher who's away on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
As you leave the taxi you had taken, you notice a man who seems to be quite lost in the parking lot.
Have I been to the campus before, or is it just...
No, you just received a map before.
Okay. Sort of... excuse me, can I help you?
Danny, you're being approached.
I run away.
The man begins running in a random direction.
I guess not then.
As you're
She shakes
standing
her
there
head.
confounded,
Mm-hmm.
a group of 3 students kind of walk across the bridge of the nearby river towards the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, a relatively well-built, kind of semi-large young man, kind of waves over towards you.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the young women, 2 young women next to him, kind of greetings and welcome to Hoshisora Academy.
Thank you. I'm the history teacher for a while. You've probably heard.
Yes, we 3 are members of the student council. This here, and she kind of gestures towards the large man, the large young man in the middle, kind of. My name's Kurehiro Yazu. I'm the treasurer, and I'm also a member of the photography club.
To meet you.
She then gestures to herself, and I am Torisawa Hanako, and I'm also a member of the biology club. And this, and she gestures towards another young woman who's kind of walking behind the 2 others. She gives a polite kind of bow as she says, Yamada Nadeshiko, president of the student council. And she holds out her hand.
Arvin takes it.
Well, as it's already as late as it is, I suppose we shall give you a bit of a small, quick tour of the main building, and after that we'll get you situated in one of the teacher rooms in the dormitories.
Thank you, that would help.
Yes, well, come with me then. And she kind of turns around as she kind of looks over to the man who has run over to the corner of the parking lot.
I just sit there. Just mind my own business.
Excuse me, sir, you wouldn't happen to be the new apprentice of the groundskeeper, would you?
Maybe.
Oh, well, how great. Then come this way and I'll show you.
Okay.
She then kind of she and the other two kind of then start walking across the bridge over the river.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of late fall. The river is there's a lot of current, and it's almost like, it's not like rapid, but it's a very strong like current in the water, as you can see.
Yeah.
It seems very crystal clear almost. It's semi-deep, not like super deep, but like enough where you could probably safely dive at least.
Okay.
You make your way across, and as you're making your way over the bridge, when you get to the corner of the auxiliary building, you notice an old lady who's kind of moving from the tertiary building towards the auxiliary building.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Oba, this is our the head cleaner of the campus.
See. To meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you too. Maybe.
I missed the last line. Sorry, I was too busy covering.
Who might you be?
Arvin Velthelmer, the new history teacher, well, temporary history teacher.
Ah, pleasure to meet you.
Well, if you're also heading towards the auxiliary building, would you mind accompanying us on the tour?
That would be a pleasure.
Well then. And she kind of continues. The other two student council members kind of whisper something to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Before the young man kind of goes, well, I'm sorry, but I think I will have to excuse myself. Some student council work came up that I need to take care of.
No problem. I'll probably see you in class at some point.
I very much hope so. And she gives kind of like a wave as he kind of sprints off. Very much what you would expect from like a very well trained sprinter, kind of.
Okay.
And as you make your way in towards the auxiliary building, well, I suppose we should probably head to the faculty lounge last. So, first off, this is the auxiliary building where most of the classrooms that require special equipment, as well as the clubs for those activities, tend to, well, have their meetings. Currently, clubs are still in session, so we might have a hard time going into closer detail, but I'll show you around anyway.
Thank you.
Also over there, and she kind of points towards the tertiary building, you can see the tertiary building, which is the physical education storage room, as well as the student council office on the second floor.
Yeah.
Well then, and she kind of enters the door, and Hanako kind of holds the door open for you.
Yeah. Can I make an observation check?
Yes. What are you trying to observe?
See if anything around the building seems to be giving weight to the rumors that I've heard.
All right.
It's what is it? It's a
D6 if you don't have any particular for it.
I need to go back. Thanks, Discord. That's the fifth or sixth time it's just decided to do that for me for no reason.
Not gonna lie, I thought it was me.
Expertise was deduction and academics, so observation's just a D6, but my stat is 3, so...
-2, so 1.
1, so add 1 to the result, and if it's a 4 or higher, I win.
Yes.
It is not a 4 or higher.
You don't notice anything in particular.
Okay.
You make your way inside, and here on the first floor you can see the chemistry room is the first floor left. Then you have the biology classroom, and in the far end you have the photography room, where we have a dark room reserved as well. Well, if you would be so kind as to follow me up the stairs. And she kind of walks up the stairs. These dark grey are staircases.
Okay.
Here on the second floor we have the home economics classroom, and the art classroom, and the music classroom. Suddenly, you hear like you feel you sense the smell of smoke from one of the classrooms.
That doesn't seem good.
Oh dear.
Suddenly, the door to the home economics room is kind of flung up as you hear.
Are you alright?
Yes. Excuse me. A man who seems very much not Japanese. He has blonde hair, slight tanned skin. He's wearing his uniform quite well. He also has like a kind of a bolo tie instead of the normal tie. And he has what it seems to be like the beginning growings of a mustache. And thick rimmed glasses, kind of. Oh, sorry about that. Was trying out something, and let's just say the oven didn't agree with the procedure. Oh, don't worry, Oba. I'll handle it.
Are you sure?
Oh yes.
Alvin sort of tries to look into the room and see if she can see anything in there.
There's smoke coming out of the oven.
Okay.
That's about it. There's also a lot of raw chicken on the counters.
Home economics.
Yes. Oh, I haven't seen you around here. Oh right, the substitute for the history teacher, right?
Right.
Well, he kind of brushes off some flour and breading kind of from his hands. Connie sent us.
Alvin Wilhelm.
Well, I should get to cleaning this mess. Thankfully, I'm the only one currently left here for now. Well, I'll assume I see you in class, then.
Most likely. Most likely.
The student council president kind of goes, well, that was eventful. Come this way, and she kind of takes you to the corridor that is like a kind of a walkway that's like between the two buildings. Well, on the second floor here we have the third and second year classrooms. To our side here we have the classroom for the third years. Then on the other side of the building over there, you can see the second years. If you go around the corner at the end, you'll reach the library.
Arvin's eyes lit up at that.
Yes,
I was wondering where that would be.
if you take the staircase up, you'll reach the roof of the main building, which overlooks the campus. I will say that the area is generally off limits, though there are. It's all open every now and then to let students eat their lunch up there. Primarily, me and the groundskeeper are the two that have the keys to the roof. So if there's anything, you can reach out to me about that. The groundskeeper is only kind of on campus 2 days a week, unfortunately, due to other arrangements.
I see.
Well, let us go down a floor, and she kind of takes you to the staircase in the main building. Across from us here, when we come down the stairs, you'll see the school store where you can buy some basic supplementaries required, like pens, papers, and other writing accessories. There is also sandwiches, particularly the yakisoba sandwich tends to go quite quickly out of the shelf, so to speak. And to the left of the school store, you see the entrance to the cafeteria. And here to our right is, of course, the main entrance, she says, and kind of points over to here.
I see, and that'll lead back outside then.
Yes, correct. And if you, as you go kind of over towards this point of the cafeteria, like a bit further up, you can see inside the cafeteria those two doors over there. That's where you have the men's and women's bathrooms.
I see.
There's also a door over there, as you can see, which is opposite the one in entrance to the auxiliary building.
Alright.
And here to just behind us, and she kind of turns around, is the first year classrooms. And if we follow this corridor, please, you can see at the end of this corridor we have the infirmary. Then to our left here we have the faculty lounge, and then the principal office where the administration also sits. If you look outside the window to our right here, you can see outside that that building over there. That's where the gymnasium is.
I see.
I should also take care to mention that you might have spotted it before, but behind the main building is a couple of patches where the gardening club primarily has their club activities. Well then, I'll let you sort out your papers in the faculty lounge. In the meantime, excuse me, as he kind of looks over to where the skittish man is.
Lad.
The the groundskeeper, I think, said that he would be arriving to take care of you tomorrow. But I suppose you also need to stay in a dormitory for the night, correct?
Yeah, but it appears so.
Oh well, that's fine. The groundskeeper will be here tomorrow anyway, so if you wouldn't mind, follow Hanako-chan here, and I'm gonna have to finish up some stuff with the gardening club myself.
Not a problem.
You then kind of while you've had this conversation, Arvind, you kind of been into the faculty lounge and all of that and kind of sorted out stuff with them.
Mm-hmm.
Well then, let's get to the dormitories then, shall we?
Yes.
You make your way across the out of the main building and through the main entrance. You also kind of head down towards what seems to be like a little park in the middle of the campus.
Mm-hmm.
Over there you can see that large domed building over there. That's where there used to be an observatory, but because of the civilization and urbanization around this area nowadays, I believe it's decommissioned and instead acts as the astronomy club's club room.
I see. Well, it seems it's a rather large club room if they have an entire building to themselves, I suppose. But if it's the decommissioned parts of it are probably closed off.
Yes, it's also the groundskeeper has his little room in there as well in the east wing of the building.
Ah, I see.
Well then, we should probably head towards the dormitories, which you can see those 3 buildings over there.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, yes, we should have 2 rooms left open in the Harigumi dormitories. That's the ones the furthest away from here. She kind of takes you there, and well, I suppose I'll let you go back to as well. I'll take them inside the Harigumi dormitory, and you can go back to yours if you want.
Thank you. I guess I will be seeing you around.
Yes, I'll see you later.
You get showed to the dorm and shown to stay for the night.
Are the dorms split into specific sections, or are they just names? Like, is like one for first, one for second, one for third, or?
No, they're just names.
Okay.
There's some like inter-dorm based competition every now and then as well.
Okay.
As the kind of evening progresses, you also meet you kind of late-ish, because when you've kind of finished all of this, like it's kind of late. You've seen a lot of students kind of already come in, like back from club activities and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
From what you understand from having been told, it would seem that of the people you met today, Kunehiro Yasu and Koni Sanders are members of the Star Dormitory, Hoshigumi. Hanako, who you've been guided around, along with a friend of hers that she introduces you to in the dormitory as she arrives, arguably one of the latest to arrive to the dormitory, is a Kashima Reiko, who doesn't really like do more than like kind of give you a nod and a wave a little bit shyly as she kind of scurries back into her room.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Yamato Nadeshiko, who is in the Tsukigumi dormitory, along with a semi-famous actually bass player who plays in a band on like not like national level, but like kind of local. Has a lot of local gigs. And kind of known in the area.
Mhm.
His name is Kenshiro Jimmy. He's half American, and he goes by the stage name Jimmy Ken.
Okay.
The night passes, and as the morning comes, you kind of wake up, and both of you have breakfast together with Hanako, who kind of just decided to take care of you since you're in the same dormitory.
Mhm.
You both notice that there is there's like a cabinet with a lot of like prizes and stuff that students have won in this dormitory.
Mhm.
Among all the otherwise, which is all like goblets and like the usual kind of prizes you would find. There is also a single photo inside it.
I look close at the photo and sort of, what does it look like?
It's a young man next to what looks to be a couple of years younger version of the young man you were greeted by yesterday, Kunihiro Yasu, kind of standing like shoulder to shoulder, kind of grinning at each other, and they're holding a portfolio, and they're holding like a briefcase together.
Okay. Is there any sort of plaque or scribble that says that explains the context, or?
It says it's like written on it in one of the corners. Rest in peace, Akai Manto.
Oh, okay.
An unusual thing to have in amongst trophies.
I suppose so, but
Oh, I see you've seen the photo. Well, Akai-san was one of the most promising students that the Harigumi dormitory had. He was a good friend with Kunihiro, who you met yesterday. They were both in the photography club, and during their first year they were gonna participate in a national photography competition. However, he worked so hard that he became tired and made a careless mistake at the end, and the photography came out completely wrong. So, due to grief and shame, I suppose, at losing, despite everything that pointed towards them having an almost guaranteed win, both of them. They had competed in photography for years, and this was the last national where they were gonna settle it. Akae-san took his life.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, no worries. We're still proud of him.
I'm sure.
Well, rather than such a downer, I called Sanders, who you met yesterday. He's been over to the nearby convenience store and bought us some breakfast. If you wouldn't mind coming along and getting it from the car.
Oh, of course.
You two are then led together with Hanako. On the way, you kind of meet, like as you kind of pass the dormitories over here, you see a tired student. He has like completely bright neon bluish hair. He's wearing a lot of like leather armbands on his left arm, and he's carrying what looks to be a bass case on over his shoulder. He kind of doesn't really even register that you're there, so he kind of just walks past. Oh, that was Kenshiro Jimmy, who I mentioned yesterday.
I see.
He has a tendency of staying overnight in the music room and just practicing.
Is the music room sort of that's the map? Oh yeah, been the Orcs building. I guess I wouldn't have been able to hear that from the dormitory, would I?
No.
Okay.
He also generally you practice electric instrument with headphones in, so.
True.
You kind of taken alongside over to the parking lot, where Sanders kind of is lifting out two large, grocery bags.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here you go. And he kind of sets them down. Whew, these are heavy.
I guess that's me. I need to make a physique check then. If I'm going to try and pick those up.
Yeah, probably.
Oh boy, here we go.
Let's see.
Oh, I actually made it.
Alright, I'll roll for you, Danny. Let's see, so you have yep, you both managed to lift a bag each.
Why do I get a feeling that you rolled more than once?
I rolled once.
Not you.
Tony rolled once. He's rolling in the program we're using. So
It's rollable, so it's visible to everyone. So.
Yeah.
It sounded like you were straining as if to say, "Oh no, we can't have him fail here. This is too early for him to fall and break his back."
Oh, it's
No,
never too early.
I just had to
It's
make
never too
sure.
early.
I just had to make sure what your physique stat was. You help carrying. However, as you're heading over the bridge, you see something floating up, like something floating upstream, stuck. Like it's been kind of lodged onto a rock, so it's not really following the stream anymore. But something is floating on the surface.
Goes over towards the edge of the bridge to try and get a closer look.
What you see looks like the body of a young student.
I get the attentions of the others and ask them to have a look themselves to see if they can notice better than I can.
If I put the bag down, does my earlier physique roll still count if I try and pick it up again later?
Yes.
Oh, thank God. Okay. She puts the bag down and hurries over to the bridge to see if she can see the same thing.
Yes, it does indeed look like it's the body of a young man kind of floating in the water.
How far is the drop from the bridge to the river?
It's really not that. Like the river is less of like it's not like the bridge is going over, like up and over the river. It's more like the bridge is just a straight road and the river is underneath it. So it's more like at most maybe like a meter down.
Okay. In that case, and is there a way to get out of the river? Like if I chose to jump, if I chose to get in
you
and
can
sit.
just climb up the sides, but as I said, it's very strong currents.
Okay. I mean, I'm not. She still says like, I'm not the strongest swimmer.
I can't swim. Roll an observations check to see if there's anything that we can use nearby to try and pull the body closer to the shore.
That would work. Let me roll my observation then. That is.
You notice that there is what looks to be like a rope lying over here.
We could tie that to the end of somebody who can swim. They could go in well. We can tie it off and use leverage to try and to make sure they don't get pulled off by the current.
That should work.
You head over to the rope, and as you're heading there, you're noticed by Oba, who's kind of just preparing to clean for the day, kind of noticing that these 4 people are running past.
Good morning.
Morning. Can I help us fish something out of the river?
Oh, sure. A pleasure.
As you head over there, you notice that the rope seems to be attached to something because it kind of goes into the water.
Mm-hmm.
And you notice that as you pull on the rope, it is already tied around the body.
Oh.
That makes it a bit easier.
It does, but it's also worrying.
The body, you pull the body to shore, it's face down in the river. Kone kind of helps turning it over. And you notice that it's the body of Kunehiro Yasu.
Oh.
And he has like, his eyes and pupils are dilated, and he has a large wound across his neck.
They get sliced, or
Some sort of edged tool.
So yeah, a wound as in a cut, or
Yes.
a wound as in like friction burn wound. Like
No, cut.
I think that's what was being asked.
Yes, cut indeed.
okay.
Yeah.
Perhaps we should phone someone
I'm not sure what they'd be able to do.
more
but-
adapt to this.
Yeah.
You know, the police, ambulance, one, the other, both.
Hanako had already called you and Kone kind of had fished the rope up. Hanako had already called the ambulance and is now kind of arriving with the ambulance personnel, who indeed does determine dead and calls the police before continuing. The police arrive at the scene and kind of question you about like how and when you discovered it and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes to say, well, we're a bit short on manpower, but we'll send the body to the forensics. However, due to the water, it's actually quite hard to determine the exact time of death. But we estimate it was sometime during the late evening yesterday.
What time did we last see him again? I think it was like afternoon, wasn't it?
Late afternoon.
Late afternoon, okay. Yeah,
Probably after we went back to the dorms.
most likely.
Well, this area will continue investigation, and he kind of hints at that the technicians will deal with this, and you should kind of move away for now.
Before I move away, can I roll an observation check to see if I see anything nearby that might be evidence or something?
Yes, you can.
2 minus 2, 0, plus 3, 3, no.
Do you want to use a spark?
Alba would also try to see. That would be a success.
Yes. You notice that the lightning rod on top of the auxiliary building is bent slightly.
That's strange.
It's bent towards the river in direction.
Look over there.
Hmm?
You see the lightning rod?
Upon being pointed at, you notice indeed that the lightning rod, which is kind of like in the slightly shifting to the north side of the building, but still kind of basically the opposite of the entrance, is slightly bent towards the river. You also notice, as you're both looking towards this, or all three of you, you notice that one of the windows is broken.
Which window does the... Oh, which classroom is for the window?
The chemistry classroom.
That's probably not good.
And it's broken in two, because the glass is on the floor still inside.
Well, we wouldn't be able to see that from outside, but...
The chemistry
there
is
was
on the
an-
first floor. You can literally just see it.
Oh, okay. I guess
assuming
we'd be above the building a little bit, wouldn't we, on the bridge?
I was about to say the same thing. I'm assuming we're to the north of the bridge, not south.
Yes.
Where, as we leave, do we? I look to see where the end of the rope is tied to the body.
It's tied around the waist.
I suppose to head over to the Orcs building then, and see if there's anything to be found in the chemistry classroom or anywhere else. Can you reach the roof of the Orcs building as well?
No, the Oaks building is just a classic like peaked roof.
Okay. Would there be an attic of any sort, or
No.
like a storage? Okay. So it's just those two floors.
Yes.
Okay.
The home economics, art, and music is kind of already in like a sloped-ish room.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Like the second floor is like half window already, or half peak already.
I would be assuming that it's sloped on both sides.
Yes.
So most likely the slope on the western side is about the same height, if not maybe a little higher than that of the actual roof of the main building.
That would be correct.
So depending on how determined you were, I think it would be possible to make that jump.
Yeah,
You saying this out loud or just thinking it?
Just thinking it.
Yeah, I won't comment on it.
All students are told to kind of return to their dormitory rooms and stay inside for the time being. One of the policemen kind of goes, "Wait a second. Alright, you were present during that murder up in Britain the other last year, right?"
Wait. You were there too?
No, but I have a friend who's have a male pal in Britain and who's also in the police force.
Yes, that
He
was
sent me a photo of the newspaper.
it was an interesting case. Though not perhaps in the best of places for it.
Well, considering as the inspector said, we're kind of short on manpower. If there's anything you would be willing to help, we'd be sure to provide you with what we can.
She thinks that for a moment and says, I was hoping not to be dealing with some of this again, but since I am, I won't say no to getting to the bottom of this.
Well, if you need anything from the police, just get in touch with us. We'll see what we can help, and we'll of course investigate ourselves. But if you find anything, feel free to contact us.
Will do. I would point out what we've noticed already before we keep on in that case. Just the window and the lightning rod.
Yes. What do you want to do next?
I would chime up. I would chime up at this point as well, and also mention the being able to get to the roof from the other roof.
All right. You make that idea sound.
I suppose that is a jump someone could make, or even not even a jump. There's a corridor between the two, isn't there? So
Yes.
you need. I guess you climb down off the main building roof to the corridor, to on top of the corridor, and go and just
Yes, you
walk
could
across.
very much do that.
Okay. Interesting.
Well then, where do you want to investigate next?
I would go to the chemistry classroom, I think,
Okay.
since it's the closest.
Yes. You find on your way toward the chemistry classroom, you kind of enter the building, and the chemistry classroom is locked from the. It's locked currently, so you would need a key to enter.
Could I climb in through the window, or is the window too high up off the ground on the back?
A person could easily climb in through that window.
Well, if I can't climb in, because don't want to cut myself, I'd at least go around and have a look and see.
As you are kind of standing at a chemistry door, you meet with the kind of chemistry professor who's kind of like has heard about this and just woken up and been told that all the students and so on and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, I feel sorry for the young lad, but as far as I understood it, you are also helping with the investigation.
Yes.
Well, I suppose you want to get into the chemistry room since you're standing here.
Yes. We saw from the bridge that the window is broken, so there might be something missing.
Yes. Well, there's only two keys to this room. One held by me and the other by whoever leaves last. Whoever's on duty in the chemistry club also. Whoever's on duty for cleaning up after the day also has the keys.
Do you have a list of who that was yesterday?
That would have been Kashima-san, I think.
Okay.
As he opens the door, you see that all the cabinets inside and so are closed and all that, but one of them seems to be unlocked compared to all the other ones.
I head over to that one and open it and see what's in there or what's not in there. I mean, I wouldn't know what's in there already.
There is one label. There's one chemical that has a label, but there is no bottle, no container there to keep the chemical there. So there's a chemical missing. Sodium percarbonate, to be correct.
Percarbonate.
Yes.
Okay.
Not baking powder.
That's bicarbonate.
Oh,
Sodium
it was
percarbonate is
similar.
going to be something else.
It's actually baking soda.
Okay.
That's what I meant.
Okay. I thought it was bicarbonate. Never mind.
Well, that's worrying.
How so?
Well, sodium percarbonate is one of few ways you can clean away blood stains without it being traceable by luminol, like the forensic technology uses.
I see. Yeah, that would be, well, that means that this was most certainly meditated on, at least, since they planned for it. Sure.
Well, nothing else seems to be missing.
That we can see so far, at least. Can I roll another observation, or...
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I don't know what this place looks like normally, but... Oh, yeah, that's a pass.
Everything seems, as you can tell, for what you can tell, everything seems to be labeled properly and be where it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, everything else is put together very well. If anything, though, the cabin that was open, it wasn't broken into. It didn't look like. It looked like it was purposefully had been unlocked or not locked at all, but by someone with the key, so to speak.
Is the key for the cupboard the same as the key for the door, or are they
Yes.
different keys?
It's the same.
So either it was someone who was in the chemistry class before, or well, it might have. That does put a point towards the person who he said had the key yesterday, because in that case they might have left the cupboard unlocked during class, and then locked the door, come back later and broken the window to make it seem like it wasn't them. Well, of course, they wouldn't be able to lock the cupboard in that case. But then, did they have the key on them? Did they keep the key with them at all times, or do they just give the key back to the staff after class?
No, they keep their key until the next morning.
So in that case, I mean, if that's the case, wouldn't it be better for them to just,
However, the entrance to the auxiliary building is locked, so you can only unlock it from the inside, but it then automatically locks whenever the door closes.
So how would you unlock it then?
You have to be inside the building, so if someone's staying late, they can leave, but no one can enter.
Oh, I mean, but how does it open in the morning?
Universal key.
Oh, okay. And those keys are held by just...
The principal and the faculty.
Okay. Well, it's possible that...
The only room that isn't the case for that would be the tertiary building and the astronomy club's area. Those are locked specifically by the student council or astronomy club.
Okay. It's an interesting thought that, you know, if the person who had the key yesterday is the one who did this, then why did they leave the cupboard unlocked? But in that case, then they broke the window. So it just seems to be at odds with itself, if that makes sense.
Indeed.
Yeah. Why break the window and then use the key?
No, I mean, here's the thing: if they used the key, they could have locked the cupboard. But if they broke the window to make it seem as if they didn't have the key in the first place, but they left the cupboard was unlocked, which can only be unlocked with the key. So
I'm gonna give this an opportunity. This is a spark of imagination opportunity if anyone is willing to.
I'll pop one. So that puts me down to 4, I think.
That would be the case. Okay, so you go down to 4. What if someone who had the key was started and thus forgot to lock it?
That's possible, but forgetting to lock it seems like it would be luck compared to this plan, I guess. Like, it seems that how do I say it? Like,
Perhaps
they
someone
shouldn't be
was-
relying on this person to forget to lock a cupboard, especially that specific cupboard.
But perhaps someone was startled because of the window breaking.
Oh. But then it would have been reported yesterday, wouldn't it?
Well,
I mean, if it was broken during the class and
you'll
Or at
have
the end of
to
the class.
question the people involved for that.
that's what I'd do then, I guess.
And then you've investigated the chemistry room. Where next?
Where would the student who had the key be? What did you say the name was?
Kashima Reiko. She's in the Sun dormitory.
Okay. Well, I suppose talking to her would be best, but also the roof could be something worth investigating. It is closer, but also that's not something that's time dependent. So I guess it just depends on.
Yeah, I was thinking the roof because there's the lightning rod itself was bent, and there's the rope. So would have been smart to look at the edge of the rope to see if it was cut or if it really was just the end of the rope, what we seen when we pulled in the body, or is the rope still tied up, a part of it still tied on the lightning rod, and it's been cut or frayed somehow. To see who maybe just a student doing something that they shouldn't have been doing, like trying to bungee jump.
Off the lightning rod with a rope.
They were using the lightning rod as an anchor point, so the rope would stay put. We don't know what type of rope it was because we never properly looked at the rope, so we don't know if it was an elastic type, if it was elastical. We don't know if it was just a normal hemp rope.
Well, what will you do?
So going there might be obviously maybe not going onto the sloped roof itself, but going to the roof of the main building. You might be able to see at least a bit of the rope if the rope is still tied to the lightning rod, because that would also explain why the lightning rod would be bent.
True. I guess if one of us went up there, and one of us went to the dormitory, then we could cover more ground.
Well, what will you do?
So I'll volunteer to go to the roof because that means I don't need to go and speak to people.
You also receive a. You also hear coming from before the policeman. There you are. We've found out some information that you might find useful as well. Apparently, there's only only 5 people that doesn't have an alibi, with of them being either present in the spotted in the dormitory or in the main building / Ox building with somebody else. The students who we don't have confirmation for is Toyosawa Hanako, Sanders Koni, Kenshiro Jimmy, Kashima Reiko, and Yamato Nadeshiko.
Interesting. Do we know where they said? Where did they say they were? Even if they didn't have alibis for it.
Well, Sanders said he was cleaning the home economics,
Mm-hmm.
and then went off to his dormitory. Torisawa was with you,
Mm-hmm.
and you haven't attested, so that's why.
Okay.
Then there is Kenshiro, Kashima, and Yamato. Who
So I'll attest then in that case to that one.
Yeah.
And then the others.
Didn't one of them stay in the music room last night?
That is correct. That would be Kenshiro.
Obviously, it's not an alibi, but
He's saying he was in
due
the
to his
music
own
room
testament,
alone
he-
practicing.
Yes, so he had no alibi to confirm he was there, but he says he was there.
But if he was there, he might have heard something.
You can go question him. As I said, all students are currently confined to their dormitories.
Okay.
Well then, where will you go to investigate?
Well, for lack of anything else, I guess the dormitories.
Alright, so Danny's gonna head to the roof and look to see if he can find anything.
Mhm.
And you two are gonna head towards the dormitories to question. I'm gonna leave Dennis for a bit then. You two then, you head to the dormitories. Which
That gives me
dormitory?
something- back in a second then.
Yeah, which dormitory do you want to question first? Because you have in the moon you have Kenshiro and Yamato. In the
Mhm.
star one you have Sanders, and in the sun you have Kashima.
Who's the one with the chemistry key, right?
Yes,
That first then.
right. You head to the sun dormitory,
Mhm.
where you are allowed to question Kashima Reiko.
Okay. Were you the? I'm told you were the. You're currently holding the chemistry classroom key.
Yes.
Yes. We found that the window was broken from the outside, and one of the cupboards was unlocked, and the chemical was missing. Do you know anything about that, perhaps?
Oh, you roll an observation, both of you.
Okay. Think that's okay? Yeah, I think it's 3 wins.
Yes,
for me.
both of you. You notice that she begins kind of scratching at the chair she's sitting on as she is answering your question now. I didn't know, but I might have forgotten to lock all the cupboards. I was kind of tired and I kind of was a bit stressed out yesterday.
Is everything alright?
Yeah, yes.
Were you stressed yesterday, dear?
Yes.
But why?
As you might already know, I've kind of been trying to lose weight for a month, so I've been holding off not eating noodles, cup noodles for a month, and you know how I get when I don't eat cup noodles.
Oh. Sweetheart.
Any more questions?
Do you happen to... Might you know anything about the window? Like even if you forgot, like the chemical that was taken is one that could be used to remove bloodstains, and it seems as if this was planned, then it's rather coincidental that you happen to forget to lock the cupboard that contain that chemical. So I was wondering if you knew anything about the window, perhaps.
I might have heard the window being broken, but I didn't see what it was or anything because I was on my way to leave.
So what happened when when the window broke then?
I was already locking the door.
And you didn't check back inside?
No, I got startled thinking it was a robber, so I immediately ran over to the dormitory and hid in my room.
I see. Did you still have the key on you now?
Yes, she says, and kind of fumbles through her pockets. Here.
Thanks. And Darwin will just take it. So we'll give this back when everything's done. Just might be needed for some things.
All right. Anything else, or are you gonna?
I think that's it at the moment. I have a theory that I want to test, but I'll do that when I go back over to the classroom.
All right.
So the other students in the dormitories, what were they? What were their importances?
So in the moon one you have Kenshiro and Yamato.
Mm-hmm.
And in the star one you have Sanders.
Okay, and I'm just shit with names today. Sorry.
Also, as you're kind of leaving the Sun dormitory, Hanako kind of catches both of you before you leave. Oh, by the way, I don't know if it's relevant, but some of the students have been talking about that it's like the curse of the curse of the auxiliary building behind all this. I thought I might as well tell you something I just thought of, but I doubt it's of any relevance.
Please tell.
Well, you see, us on the student council are the rest of the schools have tended to either intentionally or willingly or malevolently called us different names related to yokais. Kashima-san, who you just talked about, she has the same name as the girl who is in the urban legend of the Teke Teke. Kenshiro's stage name, Yimiken, is very close to Yiminken, the human-faced dog. Yamato-san has this kind of tick where when she's nervous she talks to herself about and asks herself if she's still pretty and stuff. So people have started calling her the Kuchisake Onna behind her back. Because it's a quote that Onryo often speaks. Yasu, who, well, is no longer with us, because his name is Kunehiro, he was called Kune, and that then devolved into Kunekune. Sanders, because his first name Connie is a bit difficult for a lot of Japanese people to speak. He was jokingly referred to as the Colonel because of his aspirations to be a chef, and, well, Sanders and all of that. And, well, let's just say that my name Haneko has its own connotations.
Yeah. And just sort of considers all this for a moment and stuff. She's just sort of not really sure how it's relevant, really. Like it doesn't make sense and stuff, but unless there was like some sort of coded letter or something that she discovered, then it wouldn't really be as much help, she thinks.
Yeah. So next dormitory then?
Yep.
Which will be which?
It's one has two people, one has one person, right?
Yes.
I'll go one person then.
The star dorm then, where Sanders is.
Mm-hmm.
What do you ask him?
Well, he has no alibi for yesterday. He said where did he say he was?
He said he was. First off, he cleaned up in the home economics after you left, and then basically has headed to the dormitory. Is what he said.
Okay. So, what time did you? Around what time did you finish cleaning up the economics classroom?
Should have been about as evening began. I think. I think I got back around the evening.
So that would have been after classes finished then.
Yes.
Did you hear a window breaking by any chance?
No, I didn't.
Strange, because one of the students heard a window break as they were leaving class, and obviously class finished.
Well, if I remember, when I left the building, I think I remember Jimmy still being in the building, in the music room, and I also remember, I think Kashima-san was still alone, left cleaning up in the chemistry room when I left.
Ah, I see. So I guess you would have left before her, in that case. That's fair.
I also saw the president, Yamato-san, coming back towards the student council office after having left the gardening club room.
Gardening club? Which is the gardening club room again?
It basically has a shed out over in this area, in the green.
Oh, okay. I was wondering, it was like, I thought it was people in the class. Okay. So... I'm what she was doing out there at that time. Is there anything else you've
She did say
noticed?
that when she left you, she did say she was heading up to finish some stuff with the gardening club.
Oh yeah. So she locked up there and then went off, and at the same time he came out of there and the other two were still in there. Then chemistry came out like, so then I mean the last one would have been music, so I guess we'll go see the music guy next then.
Alright, so the Moon Dormitory. Then you have two people here. You have Yamato and you have Kenshiro.
And the music one was
Kenshiro.
Kenshiro? Okay. I'll talk to Kenshiro first then. Sort of. I gather you were practicing in the music room last night and came back late.
Till break of dawn.
Did you hear a window break at any point?
Oblivious.
One of Arvin's eyes just twitches and sort of...
This is a stereotypical visual K thing.
Okay.
AKA, like, yeah, the Japanese punk equivalent.
Yeah, I just... She just... You know, she knows some culture, but she's still mostly from overseas, so it's sort of... it's a bit of a culture shock for her to just get thrown into that. So she doesn't really know what to make of it. Did anything happen overnight that you noticed that was different than normal or unexpected?
Silence of lamps.
I'll take that as a no then. She looks questioningly. Sort of, well, I guess that's that then. So the last one in this dorm, she's just sort of not really sure where to go for the rest of it because she doesn't really get the whole thing. So the last one in the dorm was
Nadeshko, the student council president and gardening club.
Okay. And then sort of, I guess student council business at the moment must be well, a bit difficult given what's happened.
Yes. Well, what's happened's happened. We'll have to.
Yeah. I gather you were finishing up something in the gardening club last night before you came back.
Oh yes, it was my turn to attend to the flower bed, and after that I headed to the student council office to attend to some paperwork, and I'm sorry to confess that I might have just fallen asleep over the paperwork and just slept in the student council office over the night.
Would others in the dorm be able to attest that they hadn't come back? Or
Yes.
okay. So the only people so far who were unaccounted for overnight are the musician and her. In that case.
Yes, those are the only overnight unaccounted.
Okay. When you were passing the auxiliary building, did you see someone coming out of there?
Oh yes, Sanders. Some, but it was just shortly that I don't know where he went after that.
Okay. He said that he saw you after he left, and that when he left, the chemistry music room was still occupied. So I'm just trying to. We're just putting together a sort of timeline of sorts of where everybody was. Who saw who?
I believe I saw Kashima-san hurry out of the auxiliary building quite a brisk pace towards the dormitories from I saw from the windows of the student council office.
Must have been when the window broke then. Let's see. Well, that does at least collaborate that then. I think that's everything for now, but I might be back later to ask more if something else comes to light.
I believe that was just before the full lockdown of the main and auxiliary building, I believe.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, what time is that? What time of day does that happen at?
Around 8 o'clock is the full lock.
And what time was? Because he said he left around sunset, didn't he?
Around 7-ish.
Okay. And she left around 8, so that does line. That also lines up. Okay. I think that's everything then.
Well, meanwhile, what Danny has been doing, if he's still here.
Yeah, I came back.
Yeah,
I'm back.
good. you've gone to the roof. Roll me, I'm gonna roll for you an observation. So your observation is 3. That's 4. You succeed. You notice that there's traces of blood on the roof of the auxiliary building. Almost as if something has been sliding across the building's roof, roughly.
So it looks like there's traces of blood being slid across the building.
Yes, it's going roughly
Right.
from where, like, just above the overpass towards the lightning rod, and then off the roof, basically.
Right. Can I see a rope still attached to the lightning rod, or is there no rope there?
There's no rope attached to the lightning rod.
What is the safety fence around the roof like?
It's not that high. It's you'd say it's about maybe 1.5 meters tall, maybe at most. It's very probably possible to potentially
Yeah,
like
go over it.
it's very easy to get something over it, but it would be difficult to climb by yourself. You would need something to stand on or something, but you could easily get something over the fence, but you couldn't like climb up yourself easily.
Okay.
Unless you were strong enough to be able to lift yourself with just your arms.
Right. While I look around the roof to see if I can see anything else that might have been used as a weapon. If the blood doesn't start till after till the overpass part, I look to see if there's anything else on the main part of the roof, the main building roof.
Yeah. You don't see anything, but you notice that some parts of the roof seems a bit cleaner than the others.
Right.
Particularly like around the like housing of the staircase on the west side.
So basically, it looks like there's been a path cleaned from the top of the stairs over to the overpass.
Yes, basically.
The door. I have a look at the door to see if was it locked when I got there, or was it unlocked? Because I remember you saying that only certain people can get to the roof at certain times of the day.
Yes, it was unlocked when you got there.
Right. So I'm going to go back to the others and tell them what I've just seen.
You meet up with them roughly around the time when they are finished at the dormitories.
Yeah, so we'd just be coming out and then we'd see you then.
So,
You
yeah.
corroborate
So
your
meet up.
proof then.
Hmm?
You corroborate what you found.
Yeah.
Sorry, Steve. Say again?
You corroborate what the two of you, what the two groups found out.
Yeah.
Okay. So they must have dragged it along there and then either thrown it off or tied it to the pole then.
That's the part I can't figure out. Why the rope?
Yeah. And if they were trying to hang it from the lightning rod, it seems well, that wouldn't be the best thing to be doing. So
With the lightning rod being bent, must have been bent somehow. But was it bent before we got here, or was it already like that?
could ask someone who know. I mean, Obasan would know.
Yeah, Oban noticed originally, so that means it was probably not normally bent.
Beforehand, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But again, bringing up the fact that the roof's supposed to be locked, so who else would all be able to get access to the roof at that time of night?
I mean, they wouldn't be able to get into the building in the first place unless they were
not
already
after
in
8
there.
o'clock, at least.
Yeah.
And the window was broken just before 8 o'clock.
Yeah, but that was in the I mean, can the chemistry classroom be open from the inside even if it's locked? Actually, I'd have to go try that out, wouldn't I?
No, the chemistry classroom can only be entered or exited if it's unlocked. That door isn't like a one-sided thing. It's only the main doors.
Okay, so the chemistry classroom was locked, and so they climbed in through the window, got the chemical, and then left. And that was just before 8 o'clock.
That would have been before 8 o'clock, yes.
But they wouldn't have been able. So then after that, but before then, they might have been able to go into the main building. After that point, or into the Orcs building and then into the main building or something like that. And then that could have done something. But actually, if the window was broken to get rid of bloodstains, then perhaps all of this had already taken place beforehand. And it wasn't that they were planning it, it's that it had taken place. So, I mean, they might have planned it. It might have been an accident. But if the death happened before the window was broken, then it seems less likely it was premeditated. If that makes sense.
What's your next step?
I am not sure at the moment. That was it. I need to go back to the chemistry classroom to check some things with the key. But those things might not be as important now.
Okay. Does anyone want to use a fortune?
I have, I think, 2 left.
I can use one. Did it say Spark Fortune?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah then.
You don't really get any particular luck from that. But you told that apparently there is a bottle of bleach missing from the cleaning supplies in the main building.
I suppose they would have mixed that with the sodium in order to get rid of the bloodstains. Then
Bleach, while it gets rid of the visual traits of blood, actually causes a chemical reaction that makes it basically the same as if there was still blood.
But then the sodium would have nullified that.
Sodium percarbonate neutralizes the luminol, but it doesn't neutralize the bleach.
So, let's see.
So if someone used bleach to clean something rather than sodium percarbonate, it would still appear on the forensics test.
But if they use both, like one or the other all at the same time, what would happen?
Both would neutralize the blood, but the bleach would still be there.
Oh, so if we didn't even if the luminol didn't show up, we could still test for the bleach itself unless that was
Yes.
cleaned off.
Basically, luminol tests. The way luminol tests is basically it glows when it comes in contact with a chemical compound in blood. But the thing is that the same chemical compound, or rather similar chemical compound that is different, does also exist in bleach. So bleach basically gives similar results.
Okay, so we can test for that as well then.
Yes. Also, the amount of stuff I've had to research probably has me on some sort of hit list at this point.
I mean, to be fair, they probably also know that people run murder mystery campaigns.
Yes,
So they probably won't put you on the hit
I
list
find
yet.
it funny when I find myself
It is funny, yeah. You did the same thing for the previous campaign
blood
too.
so it's not appear on forensics.
Yeah.
Maybe not a hit list, but probably a watch list.
I've watched your campaigns list. I mean, why not? But yeah, so in that case, I mean, the police would have luminol, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
I guess in that case, we should test around the roof area to see if there is any up there.
Alright.
Like sort of, Danny Danny's Kelly would have mentioned where it seemed cleaner than normal, so we can test around those areas.
So they'll go and check that then while you continue your investigation.
Okay.
Any other fortunes that you want, or do you just want to continue investigating?
I've got 2, but you know it's not like they're being carried over between sessions, so I may as well spend one here as well then. It was just roll a d6, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
One of the policemen, as you're telling them about looking at the roof, kind of, by the way, we found this, and he kind of shows you a photo of the rope.
Mm-hmm.
The one end of the rope that you used to pull in has a knot at one end that looks to have traces of a plastic bag handle in it.
Okay.
And further down the river, he says they found a plastic bag which had been taken with the current, and the handles of it had been kind of ripped apart.
So the rope was tied to a bag, and the other end was tied to the other end was around the person's waist. Then
Yes.
I don't. What was in the bag?
Nothing.
Was there anything between the body and the bag that could have been in the bag?
No.
That is. I'm not sure how that correlates to anything.
Could very well be there was something in the bag.
Yeah, but they didn't find anything. So
Strong current.
true.
Me.
Hmm?
Couldn't the bag have been attached to the lightning rod,
I suppose.
and then the handles broke off and broke?
That is possible, actually, but it depends if a plastic bag would be strong enough to hold a person, I guess.
Well, it broke, didn't it?
It did, but I'm just wondering about the logic of why have a plastic bag in the first place if they knew it was going to break, unless maybe it was to just give them. It wouldn't break immediately, probably. Maybe they were just trying to give themselves a moment to get away from the scene before it fell.
And also, it wouldn't then leave a trace on the lightning rod.
Yeah, it's true. just. But I'm not really sure where to go with any of that from now on. I'd sort of like. It's an interesting thought, but I'm not sure what else the bag could reference at this point. Like, did the bag look like a bag that anyone else had been, like, with anything similar to anything else that anyone else had carried yesterday or anything
No,
like
it's
that we'd
probably
see?
just like a non-descript plastic bag. Like it's not branded or anything. It's just a plastic bag.
Okay.
I'm offering a spark of imagination then.
I've got 4 of those left. I'll take it.
You imagine that if someone threw an empty plastic bag into the river, it would probably be pulling with quite a lot of force, considering the strong current.
Oh. Oh, so the bag could have been used to try and pull the body downstream then. But the bag wasn't strong enough and the handle snapped, and that's how we found it at the bridge, when ideally we wouldn't have found it at all. It would have just been further down. Essentially. Hmm. No. I guess I sort of relay that to the others then.
In the meantime, while you've been pondering this, the technicians, forensic technicians, have found that there's been a large cleaned up with bleach puddle next to the staircase entrance, like over here.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a trace that goes all the way over to just above the overpass. They also found what looked to be a scribbled drawing on the wall of the staircase housing. In wood. A drawing that looked like this. If I can have a better color than that.
Are you putting it in the roll 20? Ah, okay, I see. Done that.
A drawing that looked like this. And I'll screenshot it for Danny as well.
Okay.
This is what the scribble in blood looked like, Danny. Well,
I mean, is it a symbol that has any sort of recognition? It looks vaguely like a face, but I'm not really sure.
it looked like a smiley, basically.
Hmm.
It looked like a very weird smiley, basically.
Yeah. If they sent it round, if they made copies of it and showed it to the students and asked the students about it, and if any of them knew what it meant or had any reactions to it, then that might lead somewhere.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
We'll have to wait for the results.
Yeah, but it would be faster for them to do it, like multiple people to go and do it, than for just me, just one person.
What
Is
will
all.
you do in the meantime then? What will you investigate next? Have any ideas? You have
Maybe
four main suspects.
Mm-hmm.
Does any of them have a motive, an alibi, or a method of doing it?
Well, we have the student council president, we have the chemistry person, we have the chef, and we have
Musician.
the musician. Yeah. So in that case, let me think. We've got so the student council president saw two of them leave.
Hmm. But only one of them saw the student council president.
Yes, that's true.
And musician nobody saw.
Yeah, but he was there all night.
Yes, but he doesn't claim to have heard a window breaking despite that.
Yeah, but he might. I mean, did he have headphones on? Is the question, I guess.
Probably, but a window breaking sound you would probably still hear.
That's true.
Especially if it's in the same building, you're only one floor away.
Yeah.
And saying that, those in the music room, they're normally a little bit more soundproof.
That too. And that was it. So what I wanted to check was the chemistry room. Does that cupboard lock with the key? Like, if I try and lock the cupboard, does it actually lock, or does it just
Yeah, it
not
locks
lock?
properly with that key.
Okay. It might have been that like that cupboard doesn't lock properly or something like that.
No,
In which case it would have been guaranteed to have that bottle barrel properly. Investigate the broken window, like from the inside, and see if there's anything there that seems to.
It seems to have been broken by some sort of hard object that smashed into it.
Mm-hmm.
And the glass is on the inside, so it was not. So it must have been from the outside breaking in.
Okay. Okay, but is there anything like so? But the objects that the object that assumedly broke it is gone.
Yes.
Is there anything? Is there any blood or anything left around the window for them climbing in?
No. It's safe. It's the kind of It's like the kind of glass that turns into like just crap tons of smith of.
Ah,
small
okay,
pieces,
safe
so
glass. Gotcha.
It's done that way in order to, in case something happened with like the air pressure and stuff in the chemistry room and stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So let's see. What else might we have? I'm trying to think of what else.
The kid
Right.
that died, do we know why he was out of the dorms at that time of night?
We don't.
Maybe go and see if he had any friends and if they might have some answers.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I'm trying to find trying to find the person who actually did the murdering of and forgot to check that. Do anything about the person who was actually murdered?
So let's look into the victim
Yeah.
and find out, the whole if they have any enemies and
From the
that
police
type of stuff.
questioning, you can get the following information. His name was Kunehiro Yasu. He went by the nickname Kunekune.
Mm-hmm.
He was a all-time friend with. He was a childhood friend with Yamato Nadeshiko and Akai Manto, the student who committed suicide 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He was also a decent friend with Hanako, Connie, and Reiko.
Mm-hmm.
He did not get along well with Jimmy. That's what I have for you for now.
Okay, and that's Jimmy as in like this, as in Sanders
Kenshiro.
or Kinshin. Okay.
Which did you say were decent again?
What?
Which did you say he had the decent connections with? Hanako, Reiko, and
He was friend with Hanako and Reiko, and he was childhood friend with Yamato and Akai Manto.
I thought you said more for decent friends.
Connie as well,
Okay, yeah.
because they were all basically on the student council. So
Oh, yeah.
everyone on the student council, he was friend or childhood friend with, except Jimmy, who he didn't get along well with.
Okay. Interesting.
Well,
I guess check if the music room is soundproof or not.
it's soundproof towards like the other room in the buildings, but it's not soundproof outwards like the window and stuff.
So that means that they would have had the window smashing, if not through the walls, then through the window itself.
Yes.
How equipped is the room? Like, does it seem like it would be the kind of like actually having a reason to not hear a window smashing?
Not really. It has like a digital drum set, a couple of acoustic guitars, a couple of like nothing like super loud or anything. Like most of the instruments are digital and like technology based.
Mm-hmm.
So most of them just have to be plugged into a speaker or headphones.
Okay. And I suppose this guy obviously has headphones, so. Is there anything else to investigate? I'm thinking. How would they have gotten into the supply closet?
The supply closet isn't locked, really. It's as long as you're in the main building, you can access it, basically.
Okay. And they could have gotten into that any time before 8 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay. I'm wondering. So the music guy said he was there, but nobody has proof he was there.
Yes.
And as long as he was within the building...
I will also point out the overpass on the second floor between the auxiliary building and the main building, that's not locked. So if you're in the auxiliary building past 8 o'clock, you can still get into the main building and vice versa.
Yeah, I figured something like that. On that topic, actually, so would so getting onto the roof, how would they have gotten onto the roof? Essentially.
How do you mean?
I mean, the roof would have been locked, right?
The roof is only ever locked if it's locked by the two who has the key.
Oh, and the roof key is held by
the groundskeeper who was away yesterday, and the student council president.
Ah. So it's possible. Does the student council? I didn't ask for the roof key. God damn it.
It was unlocked when Danny went up there earlier.
Yeah. So. Right. So if the murder happened before 8 o'clock, they would have had time to. To do everything that was necessary. I'm just trying to put this into words. It's like Because the person now who seems the most suspicious out of those guys is the music guy. I mean, yeah, it's his personality to be unhelpful, but you know, he's being unhelpful. Which is obviously unhelpful. But it does make him more suspicious. So if he didn't hear the window breaking, if he says he didn't, but evidence suggests that it's likely he did, or he was more likely to hear it than not hear it, then he should have then, if assuming there's a possibility of him being the suspect, at least, even if he isn't, there's a possibility of it, which is, of course, made harder if he didn't hear the window breaking, then he could have not actually been in the music room. He could have been over, like, around 7ish. He might have been, or 8, 7. Oh. The window. So, is the lightning rod above the window for the chemistry room?
Yes.
I think. And how close is that to the river in meters, roughly?
Not far at all. The area behind the auxiliary building is at most maybe 2 to 3 meters wide at the most.
So what might have happened is, even if we don't know who it is that as the person was leaving the chemistry classroom, the body was pushed over the edge, and the body is what broke the window. Possibly. And then they went downstairs and they couldn't get in. They couldn't actually get to the body without leaving the room, without leaving the building, rather.
Yeah.
So let me think about that. How to say this? My brain will get there eventually. So, using Music Guy as an example, not as the suspect, but as a possibility.
Yeah.
The others, he was the last person in there. At 7 o'clock, Sanders left, and at just before 8 o'clock, the chemistry student left. So though, just before 8 o'clock, and that was also when the window broke, and then she fell asleep at her desk. The student council president fell asleep.
Yes.
She said. So, what could have happened in this case is, we don't know the method for the murder yet, but in terms of viability of where he might have been, the doors being locked, etc., is that if he dragged the body and pushed it over, but then it hit the window of the chemistry classroom and broke it, then he could have gone outside, and got the and then put the body in the river, and then gone back inside before 8 o'clock, and then cleaned up with the chemistry. No, he would have to go through the window to get that, so he must have got that at the same time, or he got it. No, not really. Could the doors have been propped open?
Not easily, no. They are digitally locked.
So if he opened the door after 8 o'clock and left, he wouldn't have been able to keep the door open. It would have had to have closed.
Yes.
Okay.
The only other time when the doors open again is at around 5 o'clock in the morning. They open up again for morning club activities.
5 in the morning. So, and the music student was coming across the bridge, right? Like when we went to go and get the bags from the car, he was coming across the bridge towards us.
He was coming from, you don't know exactly where, but you met him like coming from the path. Maybe switch tool.
I see. And what time of morning was that?
That was around 6 o'clock in the morning, roughly.
Okay. then what could have happened is
Basically, you met him over here, so he could have come from anything, basically, that is from this path and onwards.
yeah, definitely. So in that case, if the doors open at 5, it's possible that he pushed the body out at night, tried to get back in and failed, or got back in and then cleaned it up with the bleach. But then also at 5, he left the building, climbed through the window to get the bottle from the chemistry room, and then cleaned up the bloodstains again. It's possible that would be a possible reason for him to have been there that early in the morning.
Fair.
So we were told that he does quite commonly. He does commonly stay overnight in the music room.
That is true. That's why I'm hesitant to label him as like a significant suspect.
Yeah.
Like what he's doing in this situation is very suspicious, and there is a plausible way it could have been done by him.
Do you
But
want another round of questionings, perhaps?
perhaps, but I don't see how helpful he would have been. He'll be again, but I suppose. I mean, other than him, I'm not sure who else there would be to question. I mean, actually, student council president needs to be asked about the roof key. And also what time she thinks she fell asleep. I think, yeah, student council president and I guess him again. See if he's got anything more than one-word answers to give me.
You head to him first, huh? What do you ask him?
So you were in the music room all night, and you came back at around 6 o'clock this morning, right?
He looks a bit nervous, lowers his head and answers, "Irresistible craving."
Craving for what?
I'm assuming he got hungry.
Allure of society.
Society? What? Do we have a
Produce of capitalism.
I'm guessing. She's just sort of like. Do we have a translator on hand?
I mean, you how good are your deduction skills?
I'm gonna need to roll deduction for this. I cannot figure this out of character at all.
Now let's see how good your problem solving is. So you get a D4 for this.
Oh, D4. Okay, right, because I have advantage on it. Oh fuck.
Do you want to use the Spark of Fortune to re-roll?
Yeah, I'm re-rolling this shit. Fuck it. I think that should do it.
Yes, +2, so that's a 4.
Okay.
You realize that craving, alluring part of society, and created by capitalism, he's probably talking about fast food.
Right. So did you go off campus or order something in, or did we already have something, or was there already something like elsewhere?
Shameful flight of Raven.
So you left campus? I mean, I'm guessing he's got a car or a bike or something.
Shackled and guilty.
Well, do you have the receipt? For that?
carelessness.
Lost it then.
Or probably just didn't take a receipt.
I didn't take a receipt. Yeah. Do you just a thing for a moment? Did you pay with cash or card?
Glimmering treasures.
Cash then. Right, yeah, if it was card, she could have tried to see if he had electronic banking info and got like a transaction record from the bank or something, but you know. Just because...
I mean, you
she doesn't...
you could send someone to question the cashier or something.
I suppose, I mean...
He's quite recognizable, so...
Yeah, I guess we could technically do that in terms of asking, one of the police to do that then, I guess. I'll ask them to do that once I'm finished questioning him then, unless one of them's here right now. I'm just lost now.
Yeah, one will call.
Okay.
The inspector kind of calls someone.
Okay, let's do that then.
What time did he get? What time did he get back, and how did he get back into the building?
How to say times in slang.
I've got him.
Nightly escapade.
So he stayed somewhere else.
You got that faster than light. See. So you got back. So you went out and got the food, and then you came back from that at about, I guess 6 in the morning. Then. What time did you end up leaving the music room in the end?
A shamed lamb, a lure of moon rising.
So would have been at night, and 8 o'clock was about sunset, right? Just check.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it would have been after 8 o'clock. So you wouldn't have been able to get back into the building.
Well, I mean, the sun started to set a bit earlier. The sun had already set by 8.
Oh, okay.
The sun was starting to set already when Sanders left at 7.
Yeah, and then 8. Then okay. So it could have been after that, but student council president didn't see him leave before she fell asleep. So, did you see anyone last night after you left the music room, or hear anything else?
Atomic Idol.
Someone he likes the look of. Someone he might have a little crush upon. Idol. You never know.
I mean,
Chemistry?
wait.
Chemistry person?
Possibly.
As Oba utters that suspicion, he panics and kind of goes, "Secret to the grave."
Well, we're trying to find out who committed this, and it would be helpful to know because we had that. You were the only one who was in the building last night. You were the last person in the building last night, and that was a bit suspicious. But since you said you went out, assuming we can corroborate that, that does clear you. So if you saw somebody else last
his
night,
panicking was more like Oba was correct.
Oh, okay. Okay. Don't worry, I won't say.
But that would mean that he left before Kashima, if that is the case.
He left before her.
Yes.
So then... So he saw her leaving. But that means that but the window would have broken just before she left.
Correct.
So did he hear that?
As he said before, he'd never heard a window break.
So either he's lying or he was just far enough away not to see her. Did you see her come out of the building, or was it somewhere else on campus?
He saw her still, she was still in the building when he left, is what he meant.
Oh, okay, so she was still in there. So she just missed him then.
He left later than him.
Yeah, she left later than him. So then between 7 and 8, then is when he left.
Well, wasn't this before 7? He left at 7.
Yeah, the
It's
student
not
council
7.
president left the gardening at 7 and went to the tertiary building.
Yeah,
At 8 o'clock, she saw the chemistry student running out.
Yeah, right. So, of course,
yeah.
right.
But she didn't say she saw him.
Well, if he was still in the room and he just saw her inside there. Because she was cleaning up.
Yeah, but then he left the building, and the student council president didn't say she saw him. She just said she only saw the other two.
I mean, she could have been busy with paperwork.
She could have been, but but also nobody else could have accessed the roof other than the student council president's key, assuming the groundskeepers obviously wasn't done. So
you don't know if the roof was unlocked or not yesterday. So
yeah, we'll check that. We'll
question
question
that.
that.
Time.
Yeah, we'll question that later. This is a complex one. Oh dear. Let's see. Is that did you see anything in the river when you crossed the bridge? I'm assuming it's across the bridge to leave campus.
Reflection of starry skies.
Okay, so no then. I think that should be it for now. I'm going to go check in with the student council president and see if she knows anything more. Alright, guess that's that then. I just realised, where's the Seo cameo? Or has it not happened yet?
You will find out.
I'm scared.
In the cafeteria, slowly cooking bread.
You head to the student council president next then.
Yeah. The roof was unlocked when we went to go check up there. And as far as I've been told, you're the only person on the grounds that went with a key. Did you remember to lock it yesterday?
No, I left it unlocked.
Why?
Oh, it's only really locked when it's dangerous to be up there.
When would that be?
Generally when the weather is stormy or otherwise.
Is that what I've heard from others as well, or?
Yeah, that would be correct.
Okay. So, and do you have the key on you?
Oh yes, it's right here.
I don't need it. I just see it. Okay. Suppose that is there any way to get back into the main buildings after 8 o'clock?
No, No, not unless you were already in either the
Not
auxiliary
unless you're
building
already
or
in,
the-
and you can't have someone let you, and you can't, like, again, you said you can't prop the doors up. Sort of,
Any other questions?
I'm thinking. If anyone else has any others, I'm thinking. I don't want to ask all the questions. This,
You said earlier that you saw both Sanders and Hashim. Would it be possible you missed someone?
Oh, yeah, probably I was quite engrossed in the paperwork. It was quite a lot.
That's understandable.
The window also doesn't really give me a good view of the auxiliary building itself. It's more like basically the window is here, so she wouldn't be able to really see what happens beyond this corner. So you would be able to see anyone who's like going past over to the dormitory, like both Sanders and Kashima was. However, if, for example, let's say Jimmy just snuck along this wall over to here, it would be a lot easier to miss. Like if he
yeah,
hid over.
or if you went around the other way.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Interesting.
Anything else?
Thinking. What time did you wake up in the tertiary building?
Oh, it must have been around just after 5 o'clock, I think.
Did you see anybody around in that time of morning?
I don't quite remember. I think I saw some people heading towards club, but I don't think I can pick out any specific person.
Which way? Which club would they have been?
They were heading towards the... there were a couple of students heading into the main building. I don't exactly remember, but they were primarily first years who are currently generally have their early clubs right now.
I see.
Who would have been the last person to lock or unlock the roof door?
Last time the roof was locked, as far as you were aware, was last time it was a storm.
Oh yeah, you asked that. I phased out.
It's alright.
I remember you asking that, and I remember that answer. I just kind of
Yeah,
my
that's
head
fair.
went
It
somewhere
was
else.
phrased slightly differently, so it's fair enough. See.
Any other questions, or?
Oh right. If she hasn't been asked already, that smiley face kind of thing.
She didn't recognize it.
Okay. Did did the musician recognize it either?
And nobody has recognized it.
Nobody.
No.
Okay.
And everyone has said it looks like a smiley, but it's very weirdly drawn.
Okay.
As you're leaving the dormitory, you see some movement in one of the bushes in the nearby park area.
Mm-hmm.
You see a what, sorry?
You see some movement in the vegetation.
Try to have a closer look.
Observation.
You look at it and you find what looks to be a small grey squirrel carrying a small bit of rope in its mouth.
Does Arvin recognize the squirrel?
No, but it reminds you of another squirrel.
At least it's not the exact same one.
And the rope is seemingly gnawed off a bit, but the other end is tied to a kind of like a kind of large kind of what you would probably describe best as like a piece of almost pipe, probably like a bit of a kind of almost metallic pipe, but more like a ring, like a section of a pipe that looks more like a ring, basically.
Okay. So that's the end that was, that's the other end of the rope then? I guess because one end was tied around his waist, and that would be the other end then.
One end was tied to the waist, and then one end was in a knot that was around a plastic bag, but the end of that knot was also frayed.
Ah. I see.
You also get a call from the police officer.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently the cashier does recognize a young student with bright blue hair arriving around 7:30 and staying until 4:30 in the middle of the day.
God. 9 hours of fast food eating.
I approve.
I know you do.
What are you trying to get, baby?
Saying that he generally comes every week.
Okay. So that's a regular thing. So that clears him of suspicion because he now has an alibi for being literally off campus.
Yeah, he was nowhere near.
Yeah. Unless it happened beforehand. But that seems unlikely. He's now definitely probably at the bottom of the list.
That leaves you with 2 suspects left.
Being...
Love triangle.
Yamato and Kashima.
Yeah. Okay. And that was,
President and the chemistry.
yeah. That makes sense. See, both have reasons for it, but if the roof was already unlocked, then their reason is less.
With that round metal bar hook thing, are we able to identify what it's from? Or what it's supposed to be?
You can do a bit of a deduction.
I'll go for it, why not? I'm going to fail this, but let's do it.
Alright.
I believe in you.
Oh, I wouldn't.
Zero. 2. So 2. You rolled a 2 out of 6. You need a 4 to succeed. Do you want to spend a fortune to re-roll or not?
Yeah, let's do it, why not?
Alright. You rolled a 1. Do you want to spend a fortune to re-roll?
Once more, come on. I hate
Okay,
games
you rolled
that
a
involve
5 this
gambles.
time. That's enough.
I hate games that involve gambles.
You get some really weird thoughts in your head as you ponder on what that ring could be used for. But then you realize that yesterday, before you got to the parking lot, when you were kind of wandering around the campus a bit lost, you saw that rings like that were actually used. You saw two uses of those kind of pipe-sized rings, or ring-sized pipes. A couple of them you saw were being used over at a gardening club in order to keep in order to help with some of the flower arrangements. They were also used for some sort of a chemistry experiment that you saw when you were in the chemistry room before. Yeah, as kind of containers. They had that ring, and then they had like a glass bottom as well.
So it reinforces both possibilities then.
Indeed.
Okay. I suppose we should see if there's anything in gardening or chemistry that correlates to this. Like if there's something missing somewhere.
There doesn't seem to be any missing as you can find. But you do notice that there are indeed spares in the gardening club shed.
So does that mean that that one might be one of the spares, or potentially that? Oh, so all the spares are kept there, and then the chemistry one just has the ones being used.
Yes.
How is the gardening room accessed?
It's a key.
Which I'm assuming the gardening person's, aka the student council president, would have.
Yes, probably.
I mean, was it if we went in there, was it locked or?
It was unlocked now.
Okay.
But that was probably just a result of like the morning clubs.
That's fair.
With the ones in the chemistry being, having a limited number, would there not be a record of how many they're supposed to have? Possibly kept by the teacher.
Potentially, but you can ask the professor in charge of it.
It might be worth asking to see how many they're supposed to have, or if he knows how many he acquired, and to see if the number that he says matches up with the number that are currently still there.
Yeah, we should do that.
No.
Do we go and hunt down the professor?
Unfortunately, I don't personally have a record of that. If I remember, the one responsible for that is, because it's a private project, I'm not really in charge of it, but I believe it was Kashima-san and one of her friends that was in charge of that project.
Okay.
But I'll go with you.
Well, any thoughts or suspicions?
I mean, the student council president could be lying about seeing chemistry student leave from their office, and it would also, and again, their office gives them a convenient cover to be sneaking around in the buildings if necessary. It would also given them access to other things as well, but also the chemistry left the court at 8. The only person who heard the broken window was the chemistry student.
Yes.
So either someone's lying about not hearing it, or she's lying about hearing it.
Or they're both in it together. Remember the railing on the roof? Easy enough to get the body over yourself, but to get yourself over, you either need help from someone else, or something or someone to help hold to get you over.
That is true. Now you mention it, it is possible that for that to be a thing, much as I don't want to consider it.
I'm offering a imagination opportunity.
I think I have
Sure.
3 left, 2 left.
You have 3 left.
All
Okay.
by
Hmm?
all by use is 1.
Okay.
Right. You realize that the only place of cleaned up blood that you can assume is actually the one on the roof.
Yeah.
Because if the percarbonate if the sodium percarbonate was used to clean the blood, it wouldn't be a trace there. So the fact that bleach was used, rather, means that it might have been someone who didn't have access to sodium percarbonate. Which also
But
means
then-
that whatever caused that cutting wound on the victim's neck probably hasn't been cleaned either. Would
That's-
still have traces of the bleach on it.
No,
That
that's
is-
the part I was thinking, that I thought they maybe used the sodium on the weapon instead. That's what I was under the assumption of, but now you're saying this.
It's all possible. I mean, the sodium could also just be a coincidence to mislead.
Or I mean, someone could have used it.
Yeah.
Yeah, used it like from the chemistry room when he was there.
That's true. I mean, depending how smart of a person we're dealing with here, they might also have been that they used the bleach specifically to mislead. If it was the chemistry student, they might have knowingly used the bleach as like a false lead when, and then use the sodium on the murder weapon, wherever that's being hidden right now. It's a bit difficult to say.
From what I'm seeing, there's 3 places what could potentially have something with the what could have that sort of damage. Being the home ec room, having knives, the biology chem lab, they may very well have scalpels, and the gardening club will have things such as shears.
That is true.
We could always just look, see if you can find something which has been cleaned recently.
We could do that.
You grab a technician who will help you look this up then. Since you're currently in the chemistry room, do you want to take the biology since it's next door first?
Yeah, I think so.
You check the scalpels, and they have been properly cleaned. There's no human blood trace on them.
Okay.
Home ec next, or?
Would be
Upstairs?
the homeroom.
Yeah, home economics, the room which is just above the broken window. Looking through all the kitchen knives, no traces.
Okay.
Next off, you head over to the garden shed.
Yeah.
There is a trace.
Oh. What on?
Pair of bouquet scissors.
Hmm. The only person who would have had access to this would have either been the student council president, because they're the gardening person, or someone came with the morning clubs.
And everyone else has alibis other than the two you now have left.
Yeah. What year is the chemistry student in?
Third year.
And first year clubs are just first years.
Yes.
Okay. See, the evidence is starting to mount towards the student council president, but also there is still that missing bottle that concerns us.
I'm willing to allow a collective spark of imagination. You all have 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll do one then.
The other 2, are you also on with it?
Yeah, go.
Then I want a roll of a d6 from all of you.
Okay.
So I'll roll
Well,
that.
you know I'm going to fail. I'm out.
I'm
Well,
rolling.
I rolled good enough for you. It's okay.
Perfect.
Armin,
Yeah.
you remember something from before you left for Japan.
Mm-hmm.
A certain friend of yours was trying his hand at making something homemade rather than store-bought.
Okay.
In this something, one of the things required for this thing was sodium percarbonate.
Mm-hmm.
What Riley was trying to make homemade was homemade cup ramen.
Oh. So what you're saying is that this chemistry student stole a bottle of sodium to make cup ramen. Well, I guess we better go ask them about it and get confirmation of it then.
Well, they admit to it.
Then we only have one suspect left.
No motive.
No motive, but they are the only person left who it could have been.
Correct.
So, while we might not know why they did it, perhaps they would confess and tell us why.
You reveal what you find to the police, and your suspicions are correct. What actually happened was as follows. Kunehiro, after both he and the club on the council president left you together, left you yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
he asked the student council president to meet him at the roof, where he tried to confess to her, but she rejected him, saying that she was not willing to move on from her previous love, that being the student you saw on the photo. Akai Manto. Upon being rejected, Kuneshiro reveals, mockingly, that he sabotaged Akai Manto's photo project because he was scared that Akai Manto would overtake him, thus driving Akai to suicide.
God.
Enraged by this statement, and unable to control herself, she grabbed the closest object she had, which was the scissors she had from the gardening club, on her, and slit his throat. Upon recovering from the rage, she realized what she had done, and tried to look around to make sure that nobody else was nearby. However, she didn't completely kill him instantly, and he was able to leave that scribble on the wall. But he of course couldn't speak or shout because his throat had been cut.
Yeah.
She then takes the now dead Kunehiro, drags him towards the end of the main building where the thing is, runs out of the main building but she locks the rooftop door to make sure nobody else comes there.
Mm-hmm.
Goes to the gardening club where she grabs the ring, 2 ropes, and what's it called again? A plastic bag.
Mm-hmm.
Stuffs it all in her bag, and then returns as if she was just finished with gardening club. Meets Sanders as he's leaving the auxiliary building, and then then she enters the tertiary building until she sees that Sanders has left for the dormitories. Once she sees that, she heads back into the main building, which is the reason she didn't see Jimmy.
Because he left after. See.
In the main building, she grabs a bottle of bleach, cleans the roof up, ties the rope to the man, to Kunehiro, and ties the other end to the ring, and uses the ring to give a weight as she throws the rope over the auxiliary building. However, what she didn't think about was that the ring landed and crashed the window of the chemistry club. She then left as the doors were auto-locking, which of course meant that just as she was about to leave, she saw Kashima leave. She then just snuck away after Kashima had already passed, out of the main building. Then she hid in the student council room until all the faculty had left. At this point she had cleaned up the roof and unlocked the door. She had also dumped the body on top of the overpass, so that it wouldn't be discoverable unless you were on top of the auxiliary building or next to the overpass on the main roof.
Mm-hmm.
Once everyone had gone back to sleep, basically, she snuck out of the tertiary building, which she of course has the key to the backside of the auxiliary building. She tied the rope, which had a ring hanging from it, to the other rope she had with the plastic bag, threw the plastic bag into the water, and used the force of the current to pull the body over the roof and into the river. However, it's so forceful that it bent the lightning rod that it was basically just next to. The body landed in the water, and the plastic bag was ripped apart as it flew further downstreams. She then assumed that it would just be taken downstreams, but unfortunately for her it got stuck on a rock without her notice as she had left. The end of the rope with a ring on it also got gnawed off, unknown to her. And then in the morning, you discover the body that had been gotten stuck in the river.
She would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for that nutkin and its pesky jaws.
Oh god.
And just to give you an idea, you remember how I said that they were all called different things?
Yeah.
Of course, in his dying state, Kunehiro was not in any state to write Japanese symbols.
Yeah.
So instead, he drew a smiley with a mouth that is completely open from ear to ear.
Mm.
Ah.
So, Toyosawa Hanako is a reference to the toilet-bound Hanako, which, as I think you've already, that's like a famous one, right?
Yeah.
Sanders Coney, who was called the Colonel, is based on the curse of the Colonel, Colonel Sanders, as in the Kentucky Fried Chicken Colonel.
Yeah, I figured that part.
Yeah.
The second you said his name for the first time, I wanted to shout, "It's Colonel Sanders!"
Yeah.
Yes.
Kunehiro Yasu was called Kunekune, which is basically like the wriggling body, as it's called. It's basically a type of scarecrow urban legend thingy, but it's fitting since he was also the wriggling body.
God.
Kenshiro Yimi, aka Yimi Ken, if you had asked him, you would find also that he was a dog lover. And Jiminken is the human-faced dog that is often found eating trash.
So raccoon.
Hence
Fast
why he
food.
was away eating at the fast food joint for a good few hours.
Yeah, that's fair.
And Kashima Reiko has the same name as the original Teke Teke, which is a young girl who got run over by a train and is now only an upper torso and basically goes around severing people at the waist. And lastly, you have Yamata Nadeshiko, who was referred to as, because of her tick of in talking to herself in the mirror and asking herself if she was pretty, a trait of the Kuchisake Onna, the slit-mouthed woman,
Ah.
who has a mouth that goes from ear to ear.
So that's what he drew.
Indeed. I wondered if anyone was gonna research urban legends and yokai for this, but
Yeah. I knew it was, yeah. I figured that a lot of the information would be given to us in session. I looked things up, I looked things up a little bit.
yeah.
Just like as you said them, but I didn't like dive very very deep into them
Yeah.
because I didn't want to give myself information that Arvin probably wouldn't have.